Hello, my name is Pierre, and my phone is ringing us off. And have you heard of the movie Into the Storm, the 2014 movie? It was directed by Stephen Quayle and written by John Swetnam. It was starring Richard Armitage, who was the main daddy of the film Gary, and his sons Max Deaton, who played Donnie, the older awkward brother, and Nathan Kress, the more confident younger brother, and also Carly Starfreddy. And it also starred Sarah Wayne Callies, who was Allison, the smarts of the Storm Chasers, and Matt Walsh, the second daddy, number 2, Pete of the Storm Chasers, and then Alicia Debnam Carey, who was the love interest Kate, because we always need the love interest. And so this movie is literally about a group of people who decide to go into the stone, willingly or unwillingly, as a bunch of tornadoes just decide to wreak havoc on the fictional town of Silverton, Oklahoma, because, Tornado Alley. And so we follow a group of high schoolers, storm chasers, and a couple of amateur daredevils who I'm not too sure why they're in the film, but they are. So if you didn't watch this movie, you better buckle up, because I'm going to show you how to avoid tornadoes or go into them, because we're cool like that and we want money. The film begins with the storm chasers who are trying to get the shot of a century going into the eye of a tornado after the first tornado absolutely decimates a car. And on the other side, there's a graduation happening. Donnie and Trey are up and filming some sort of time capsule for some reason for like the whole town. And then again, the daredevils just kind of are. Donnie goes ahead and skips his graduation to go with Katie to go help her film this application for an internship that she wanted to do in the summer because her file got corrupted. And so in the middle of the graduation, the tornado just decides to come and ruin everybody's day. And actually prior to this, when we cut back to the storm chasers, when you're with them in their little apartment thingy or whatever, it starts hailing. And this is actually factually true. I'll put my links in the bio so that you can fact check me, because I have sources, and this is for a grade. So the storm itself has the possibility of having either hail, rain, or thunderstorms. And hail can be a signifier of a really strong thunderstorm, but it is simply just another possibility that can come with an occurring storm, as well as a tornado. So hail does not necessarily mean tornado, but having rain, hail, or thunder alongside a tornado, that's not weird. And when I was watching this film, I thought it was just weird, but yes, that is factually true. Into the Storm got that right. Good job. But that's the only explanation I could find online and in my notes. So there you go. And so during this tornado, the students all evacuate into the high school because the high school is apparently a storm shelter, which is, cool. And then a freaking tree is blasted through the window and almost hits Trey, who is still recording. Kudos to the cameraman. And also in the paper mill, the tornado hits the paper mill, and then Donnie and Kate jump down a hole to escape, which obviously nothing wrong is going to happen with that. But for the tree scene, I was actually really curious if a tornado could uproot a tree. And to my surprise, winds that are either 115 miles per hour or more can uproot or destroy trees no matter how well prepared they are. And so that was kind of scary. To find out. So after Donnie and Kate jump down the hole and the tree goes through the school and everybody's scared and screaming, Gary and Trey decide to go and look for Donnie because Gary is like, hey Trey, where the heck is your brother? And Trey's like, I don't know. And then we cut to the daredevils and the chasers who are chasing the storm because they're trying to go into the storm. And so during this second tornado, all of them are all together. It's Gary, Trey, Allison, Pete, and then those daredevils who are also there just cuz. And during this time, the tornado is a little indecisive. It touches down for a little bit and then lifts up and then switches position. And so this isn't necessarily false. Like, tornadoes can be indecisive about whether or not they'll actually touch down. I feel like the movie just made it very animated in how it literally just decided to go from here and then go up and then plop down in another position. But this can happen where a tornado doesn't fully touch the ground. Like, it just kind of hovers, and then it can touch down again later on when it's feeling more at it. But this scene is kind of just funny. I like to think that the tornado's like a little shy, you know. The tornado's just like, I don't know, guys. Also, during the tornado, we see Gary and Allison flying together for a bit, you know, just for a little fun. So we cut forward, and now 4 tornadoes are forming all at once because the storm is feeling a little spicy. And so this is actually possible. Twin tornadoes can form from the same storm, or when one is just so violent that it just agitates into smaller and like breaks off kind of into like smaller vortices, I don't know. So it's probably the first answer about why there are multiple tornadoes. So they got it right. Good job. Also, this is when the fire tornado happens, which I think is like a classic. Like we're all familiar with the fire tornado, with the firenado. And so this is kind of true, kind of not true. So they're not formally classified as firenadoes. When I was researching about it, they were referred to as fire whirls. And so this is when a vortex of wind just kind of like sweeps up the fire, turning it into like a firenado. But oftentimes the base of the cloud doesn't reach the ground all the time. And so they're not really called firenadoes. They're like kind of like a weird middle ground. So I'll give them like a half thumbs up. I'll give them a half thumbs up for that, you know. So for the audience, we cut back to the hole with Kate and Donnie, and they're still recording. The camera that Donnie brought is still recording so that we can share in their suffering as fellow audience members. During this time, they're sharing their last words right before Gary, Trey, and Allison come to save them. But I find this really funny because Trey uses the car to try and get the little pipe or railing off of the place that's covering the hole so that they can escape. But when he does that, he accidentally traps Donnie underneath for a bit. I just found that scene really funny. But don't worry, Donnie has his little San Andreas moment where he comes back to life through CPR. That leads us to the last tornado at the end of the movie, that giant, massive supercell tornado that is going 300 plus miles per hour. But the combination of the 2 tornadoes going full-on Dragon Ball Z fusion, usually it's just a big tornado swallowing a smaller tornado and just carrying on with its life, rather than 2 small tornadoes joining together to become one super massive tornado. So that was pretty unrealistic, but the main cast hides in a drainage pipe, and then Pete comes back and he uses his car to block off the wind. He sacrificed himself. Pete doesn't make it, by the way. He doesn't make it. I'm sorry. So overall, I think that I would give this movie a 3 out of 5. No, not 3 out of 5. A 2 out of 5 Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons. Just because the movie, I couldn't help but either be extremely bored or extremely entertained, but in the wrong way, where I found certain scenes funny. I also made this poster for the movie, for my movie. It's starring me and me and me. And I will be reprising all of the roles. I hope you like it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I don't know if I'm ever going to make another video like this, honestly. But we'll see. Bye!